Yo my dudes, and what is up? So in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the first champion to drop for March, and that is Mangog. So let's go. So I had a lot of fun testing Mangog, and this was the rotation that I found works really well for him. It goes by launching your SP1 to generate 2 charges of hatred. Alright, that's going to allow you to build up 10 charges of enrage quickly, as well as let go of some excess power, because he does build up power quite a bit passively. So anyways, when he launches, as you're going to see later, with 10 charges of hatred, when he launches that SP2, he's going to trigger enrage, and what this does for him, it's going to give Mangog an unstoppable as long as enrage is up. So this allows you, as per this rotation, to go in on the opponent and charge up that heavy attack, and that's a really important part of his arsenal, because as you're charging up that heavy, on hit, Mangog gains a very potent fury buff, and that's going to amplify your damage, as well as, of course, not to mention, the longer you charge up the heavy attack, the more energy damage that deals as well. So it's pretty clear from Mangog's aggressive play style that he was designed to take hits, and that's what he's meant to do, because when he's enraged, he reduces the damage received from enemy attacks, as well as reducing recoil damage by 50%. So that's meant to make him suicides friendly, but in my book, nah. You wouldn't really want to be rocking suicides when using Mangog. You're better off going with levels 3, 4 or 5 Mystic Dispersion, because of the fact that you're going to be constantly throwing out those special attacks. In other words, if you want to realize his full potential, you need to be constantly throwing out special attacks, because you want to build up enrage, you want to release that extra power, and you want to be able to also release that SP2 on cue to activate that enrage when you have 10 hatred active on you. So once again, this is it. Once you throw that SP2, you saw over there, Winter Soldier was stunned, and this allows me now to charge up that extra beefy heavy attack after I launch it another SP2 again. So this is pretty much the standard rotation for Mangog. Of course, you have the flexibility to switch it up as and when the situation calls for it. Oh yeah, and one more thing. Mangog is a stagger machine. You saw how easily he built up all those stacks of stagger. So if you're fighting an opponent that builds up a lot of buffs, you're going to be building up a lot of power in double quick time. So MD is the way to go. Remember, once again, when you're charging up that heavy, just hold it until the opponent hits you. As you see over there, those lights are blinking like crazy, and that's where you do maximum damage with that heavy attack. Alright, next up against Hyperion, we're gonna see how much of a stagger beast Mangog is. Alright, so first up, Mangog's SP1 triggers 2 stacks of stagger, and whenever you're in enrage, your normal attacks have a 70% chance to proc stagger as well, that also lasts for 14 seconds. So this is gonna keep all those opponents with all those buffs in check throughout the whole fight. And as we can see over here against Hyperion, he is barely able to sneak through any of those power gain buffs, and even if any of those do slip through, it's no biggie, it's just one. By that time, he won't be at high power as well, so this allows you to just pretty much control the whole fight. Maybe even throw in a few charged up heavies over there like we saw, and yep. So this is what makes Mangog truly such a stagger machine. And of course, what new champion showcase would be complete without facing off against the champion as well? So this is the ideal fight to show you what I was talking about in terms of Mangog being such a staggering stagger machine. So he procs staggers like crazy, and in this fight, I went with rocking MEMD 5. Yes, Mystic Dispersion level 5. I know it's a bit overkill, so you would easily get by with around 3 or 4 levels of MD. However, with 5 levels, I was having so much fun in this fight because from start to finish, I was just controlling champion like a puppet master. Basically, I got him to do whatever I wanted him to do. I stunned him whenever I wanted to stun him, especially in the first phase. And based on that, this rotation, I was able to land all those meaty heavies as well. So basically, yep, with Mangog, the most perfect setup for him, masteries in fact, in terms of masteries, you want to go with Mystic Dispersion, not Suicides. So as you can see, the frequency in which he procs all those staggers means that champion has no chance of ever going unstoppable throughout the whole fight, even in the final 40% as well. Because don't forget, even though you can't stun the champion anymore in that phase with his SP2, with Mangog's SP2 rather, you can still depend on Mangog's passive power gain to pull you out of any sticky situation that you encounter should you not be able to push the champion to over a bar of power. So I don't know about you guys, but man, this is the first time I've shown so many special attacks in one fight against the champion. So here, as we approach at final 10%, I get ready to charge up that final heavy attack after baiting out one last SP1. And that's the thing, you always have to bait out an SP1 or any special attack before charging that heavy, because Mangog's Unstoppable only offers protection against normal attacks. Alright, and as you know, the rest is history. In the final 10%, do what you always do to gain those 3 prowesses, and the champion's gonna drop. Alright, in this next fight against 6.1.6 Havok, what I want to show you guys is the energy damage mitigation that Mangog has, because with each stack of hatred, he gains around 222 energy resistance, so with 10 stacks it's around 2200, and it's going to reduce this energy damage from Havok's plasma detonation by quite a bit. Here, those plasma buildups are about to detonate, and there it goes. So I did another comparison with a champion that doesn't have energy resistance, and I noticed that he was able to reduce the damage by around half. Alright, so in this next fight, we're gonna see how good of a counter Mangog is against this buffed up and pilfer regeneration Sym Supreme from 6.1.6. I do remember he gave me quite a few problems when he first came out, but Mangog makes this fight so easy because of his innate ability to proc Unstoppable, Unblockable, as well as Fury. And especially in this fight, because of pilfer regen, I'm using the Odin Synergy over here, which affords Mangog immunity to nullify. But what I did notice is that in this fight, Mangog still wasn't able to, or rather stop, those staggers from proccing and nullifying those buffs off him. So what you want to do is, even in this fight, do pay special attention to whenever there's any staggers on you, because you don't want the most important Unblockable, Unstoppable, as well as you're going to see over here a precision buff is going to proc. That precision buff is not part of his innate toolkit, it comes from the Odin Synergy. Whenever Mangog is immune to nullify, he procs a precision buff as well. So, makes it so easy. And once again over here, against the 6.2.1 Sym Supreme boss, we're rocking the Odin Synergy. So in the hope that at least it mitigates or prevents those nullifications whenever Sym Supreme switches over to Ceton's Blessings. And just like the previous fight, what makes this fight such a joy to play is because you can just go ham on him with heavies in the corner. And boy oh boy, are these heavies truly damaging. Just look at that. Ooh, hoo hoo. And over here, in these next two fights with aggression regeneration, I thought it'd be a bit fun to show how Mangog's special attack, when he procs enrage, just makes such quick work and melts these champions. Primarily because of how the Unstoppable from enrage interacts with that monster node. Up next, we have a tricky vision mini-boss fight with that 1% constant regen. So how Mangog is actually going to take this fight is that you've got to be really aggressive and keep on throwing those specials in the hope that once you have enough hatred, you're going to proc that enrage, and that's going to give you Unstoppable. Once again, the interaction with the monster node means that his regeneration is gonna be reversed with that Spectre, so to speak. this fight I was rocking suicides. To make it a bit faster, you might want to switch to Mystic Dispersion so that you can throw off special attacks more frequently and trigger that unstoppable as well. So towards the end, one last special one which triggers that unblockable buff over there that causes him degen to death. In this next fight, we're gonna see how good Mangog performs against the can't stop, won't stop node. So the approach I'm going to use for this fight is that whenever I get any openings to launch that meaty heavy, I'm going to take it because that's going to deal a lot of energy damage. And when it comes to this, the reason why I'm able to deal such high energy damage is because of the fact that, once again, Mangog is perfect for this node because he goes unstoppable whenever he's enraged. Alright, so over here we just bait out that SP2. What you want to do is always ensure that when you throw off your own SP2, make sure the opponent is at low power. And as you saw there, I charged up a really meaty SP, or rather heavy attack. And this is going to make the fight go that much faster. Because like it or not, I don't know about you guys, but I've never liked facing can't stop, won't stop, especially when I first faced this fight. I believe it was in 6.3.1, yeah, when it first came out. It took me ages to get down this sentinel. what a long fight that was. We're getting ready, charging up that final heavy attack, and boom! He goes down. Alright, and last but not least, let's talk about synergies. With Loki, Mangog gains 1 bar of power to start the fight. And that's pretty useful because that allows you to throw an SP1 straight off the bat to proc those 2 stacks of Stagger. In terms of the Rage on synergy, I haven't really had the time to test this out yet, but by reducing the opponent's defensive combat power rate by 30%, that's going to work in your favor, I suppose, by keeping their power levels in check to allow you to more safely throw out those meaty, charged, heavy attacks. Now, when it comes to the energy adoption synergy, I suppose it could get you out of a sticky situation, but only that, because you can only rely on it one time. And if you've got space on your team for these Avengers, then it's going to help with the Banish synergy to deal even more damage in a fight. And last but certainly not the least is this Fueled by Rage synergy, which I find, in my personal opinion, to be Mangog's best synergy because he becomes immune to nullify, and whenever that happens, he gains a precision buff as well. It's a really important synergy. Makes him nullify immune as well as increases his crit rate. Really good synergy in my opinion. So in terms of Mangog's strengths, he possesses so many of those innate buffs in his arsenal, as well as being able to proc all those long-lasting staggers at such high frequency. As we saw earlier in those showcase videos, he's able to tank all those direct hits with reduced damage, allowing him to charge up all those meaty heavy attacks. Now in terms of his weaknesses, as you saw earlier, the best way to utilize him is to throw many special attacks in a fight, and that's what makes him non-suicides friendly. His aggressive playstyle also requires you to take damage to realize his damage potential, and last but not least, he is not innately immune to nullify. All in all, looks aside of course, I find him to be a really fun champion to play with, and I've had so much fun doing up this first CCP review, and I hope you guys also enjoyed this video review. So till next time, this has been Sats signing off. Take care.